everyone, it's Heal to Death. I'm here to do something a little different. I am here to go through the God of War Ragnarok new trailer that was released and not do a reaction video, but instead kind of go through the video and talk about it and just give you my own personal take on it. And I'm gonna do my best to guess what we're looking at and what that means for us, for the game. I do apologize. A lot of you guys were actually asking for a reaction video, but when the trailer came out, I was just really excited. And then I watched the trailer. I didn't even think about turning on the camera to record it at the time. So this is what we're gonna try instead. I do wanna preference this by saying that I have no prior Norse mythology knowledge of any sort, and I haven't looked anything up. Everything that I'm going to talk about is just based off of me playing the first game, or I should say the fourth game, and that's it. I did, however, play the game twice, once by just completing the story, and then the second time by doing a full completion, which I'm still just like a couple of artifacts away from completing. But what I did get to see in my second play were all the Valkyries, including the Valkyrie Queen, and some more really great commentary from Mimir, which gave us some new information, which we'll probably talk about a bit today. In this video, we're gonna be pausing the trailer a lot, so if this is your first time watching the trailer, I highly recommend watching it on its own first and then coming back to watch this one. So I'm sure I'll have a lot of things I wanna say about this trailer, but I'll probably also have a fair amount of questions. So I thought the comment section would be a great place for us to kind of have these deep conversations. Maybe you guys can fill me in on some things that you know, or maybe we can kind of just go back and forth and try to figure this out together. So let's get started.
Everyone keeps secrets.
So I really love this opener. I love what Atreus says. He says that everyone has secrets. And when I first heard that, I figured he was talking about Faye, his mom. And he's also touching the tree, which linked me back to Faye because we saw her handprints on all the trees from the previous game. But as he says, everyone, he could literally be talking about almost everyone we know in this game, including himself here. So we know that Kratos has a ton of secrets. We know that Faye has secrets, Mir, Odin, everyone. But we learn that Atreus is also learning more about himself. So I think he's actually referring more so to himself here. I also love the parallel of him touching the trees, but he's also doing something to the trees. And I'm not quite sure what that is. It has that yellow glow to it, which always points back to the giants and his mom. Her handprints were always yellow. Everywhere that we were supposed to go in the game was always highlighted in yellow. Jotunheim was a very warm yellow glow. So I just really like that connection. I'm also pretty sure that Faye did some type of protection barrier around their cabin. So he could just be doing some type of protection spell, but something cool is happening here, and it's really neat that Atreus is in control of it.
Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love.
So this scene, I'm really curious about. I don't know where they are here. At first, I thought it was in their cabin, but it's definitely not because we have that window in the background, which isn't part of our cabin, and I can't quite make out exactly where it is. It does kind of look like it's in Midgard. It looks like there's just snow and mountains in the background. But what's more important in this is what's happening. And Kratos drops his blades first, and he doesn't place them down, right? He drops them. He just sheds them. But then he also looks at the axe for a moment and then puts that down as well. So why is he getting rid of his weapons here? It's not to go to sleep. It's not because he's home. There's significance here. But if you think about the line that Atreus actually says right at the same time that we see this, everyone keeps secrets. Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love. So is there a reason that Kratos needs to put his weapons down in order to protect Atreus, perhaps? I don't know, but there's a lot of emotion when he, I wouldn't even say places, when he tosses his weapons down. Also, all those upgrades you guys got in the previous game, they're gone. We're back to our normal silver axe, which makes me a little sad.
I know you.
So with these next scenes, we start hearing from Tyr. And we got to see a glimpse of Tyr from the previous trailer, so we already know that Tyr is alive, which is super exciting. I cannot wait to see our interactions with him. But I'm gonna let a big portion of Tyr's speech go here, and then we'll go back and talk about what we saw.
I know you. God killer. What is it you want from me? Is it a god of war you came to find?
So first things first, we find Tyr and we release Tyr. While Tyr is the god of war, it sounded more like he tries to prevent war, and he's much more interested in keeping peace and learning instead of fighting with different groups and people. But you can definitely hear Tyr's reluctance when speaking with us. He isn't extremely excited or happy to be released. He seems way more focused that it's us releasing him, that it's Kratos releasing him. He clearly knows who Kratos is. He knows that Kratos is also the god of war. He knows that Kratos killed many gods. And obviously Tyr is nothing like that. So hearing Kratos' story, it seems like he's already judged him, which is fair. However, we personally know from our experience with him in the previous game that Kratos has shifted a lot, and everybody still sees him as this monster, but we were there during his transformation of perhaps no longer being that monster and making better decisions. So what Tyr says is fair, but in my opinion, it's a little outdated. I also noticed in the scene, whatever is holding Tyr prisoner is cut by Kratos' Blades of Chaos, specifically his Blades of Chaos. But the big thing to note here is whatever is protecting the average blade from cutting these bindings off of Tyr, the blades aren't affected by that protection spell. So it looks like that Tyr joins our party, at least temporarily. This area looks a lot like Alfheim. So maybe he was in Alfheim? I can't imagine why. This scene here, I love it. It gives us a little bit of the gameplay and the fighting. Again, I think this is in Alfheim. This looks a little bit more like the Light Elves took over, so their blades are white and some of the magic that happens around them is also white. From my understanding, the control of Alfheim always shifts between the Light Elves and the Dark Elves. And in the previous game, I believe we released a bunch of the Light Elves, so this might be the result of that. It seems like they're kind of in charge right now. But this particular Light Elf seems to have some type of importance. What happens is Kratos slays her, and then for whatever reason, Tyr is dragging her somewhere. For some reason, I don't know why. I think it's eerie, but we're using her for something. I also want to mention real quick that I think it's really interesting in this entire trailer, we don't hear from Mimir at all. Mimir is the wisest companion we have. He's always full of extra information and knowledge, and we don't get that here. I'm sure we hear a lot from him during the actual gameplay, but this isn't about Mimir right now. This is about Tyr and what we are doing for Tyr, with Tyr. I don't know. It's really cool. I'm really excited to see what happens. Let's keep going.
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos?
Okay, this scene. What is happening here? So we're home again. If we're back at the cabin, I don't know if this is going to be the start of the game. I really can't imagine us visiting our cabin frequently after we get started on our journey again. This shadowy figure, though, had me questioning a lot on who this was. I think the majority of people believe it's Odin, and that would make sense. The voiceover also changes, and I believe it's this shadowy figure that's speaking. Odin would make a lot of sense, but what I find interesting is he's at the door not to fight, it doesn't seem, right? He seems like he's there to talk, maybe even persuade. That's not really the stance you would have knocking on someone's door that you're about to murder. So if it is Odin, why is he here? The first thought that came into my mind is actually he's here to tell us something about Freya, or to help us defend ourselves against Freya. Yeah, Freya. Remember Freya? The one that wants to murder us now? Yeah. So it would benefit him if we kept Freya in check. And we already know from killing the Queen well, we thought it was the Queen Valkyrie, but we already know after killing Sigrun that Freya is the real Queen of the Valkyries. She's a Valkyrie, which I can't believe I missed that on my first playthrough. So that was really interesting information to get. And now Mimir says that she is looking for her wings, which is a terrifying thought. Her abilities are, in a sense, muffled already because Odin has prevented her from being able to pretty much use her full force, it sounds like. The thought of her getting her wings back and in turn getting her warrior spirit back and all of her abilities, that's not good. If Odin wants us to keep Freya in check, it would be wise for him to pretend to be our ally in a sense. That's the only thing I can think of there. And again, I don't know a lot about the mythology or the lore. This is me just guessing after playing the previous game. From what I gather, Odin always wants to be the one in control. He wants to be able to shape and change destiny. So I'm gonna listen to what he says right here and then we'll kind of talk about it.
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos? All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
So right there, it's pretty much just a guilt trip. So after hearing that, it sounds like he's pretty much trying to guilt trip him into not fighting, into not being part of this war. So again, that could go back with, you don't want to fight my son, Thor, maybe. What you really need to do is get Freya under control. I don't know if that would be the chat that they would have, but that's the best that I can make of it from knowing what I know. Okay, so the next part is it switches back to Kratos. So I'm gonna let this part play out and then we'll talk about it.
What is it you will not tell me?
I can't talk about it, but I just need you to trust me.
We follow your every whim,
But you don't believe in any of it.
and still I follow.
With Kratos here talking, he's talking to Atreus. So what we know about the giants and Faye, and in turn Atreus now, is that they can see into the future. That's how Faye was able to lead Kratos and Atreus to have the experience that they did and to get them all the way back to Jotunheim, to the tallest peak, to release her ashes. And at the very end of the previous game, after you go back to your cabin and go to sleep, when we see Thor, it comes back and it's Atreus saying that he had the weirdest dream, but it almost felt real, which kind of tells us that it wasn't a dream. He was foreseeing the future. So with all that, I assume that Atreus here knows something, saw something in the future, knows what they have to do in order to get the outcome that they want. And it's very much based off of trust. And it seems like Kratos is trusting his son to make these decisions, but also there's probably moments where he questions what exactly they're doing or why they're doing it. And it doesn't seem like Atreus can give him all the answers. So it feels like this is what is sparking this argument, perhaps. I don't know what is in Atreus's hands right here. If you do, let me know. At first I thought it was just a wood carving, but when I paused it, it's very spherical. I don't know if it's an eye, maybe like Mimir's and Tyr's eyes, but he's holding something of significance here. Not sure what it is. He says, we follow your every whim, but you don't believe in any of it, and still I follow. So we already know that Kratos very much believes, just like Odin, that they can change the future. They can change their destiny. He doesn't believe in a set future. So when Atreus yells, you don't believe in any of it, I think it's more that Kratos doesn't believe in destiny, not that he doesn't believe in Atreus. And that's why he'll still follow him. We also get some really cool rock carvings. I'm looking at this and I don't understand much of it. We obviously have the tree with the 9 realms, and then we have Odin, I believe, at the top, and then maybe going into war or into battle with the wolves, Skull and Hati, I believe are their names. That's all I can really make out from this.
Because all that matters is that you are safe.
But that's not all that matters. Who's keeping you safe?
Freya. I noticed this in the last trailer, but I absolutely love the stains on Freya's face after she lost Baldur. I love how they seem more permanent. I think that's a really cool touch. This is really interesting. I think it's cool that Atreus is wearing the mistletoe as a necklace now. You wouldn't think he would need it anymore because it was for a very specific purpose, and it kind of fulfilled that purpose after Baldur got stabbed by it and then we were able to kill him. Maybe it's something that's used to go against Freya's magic for more than just one spell, or maybe Atreus knows something we don't, which probably he does. It seems like he has the direction in this game and we're kind of tagging along. Freya's definitely also interested in it, as you can see from her face, and it's not good that Atreus is already captured by her, and she sees this as a reminder that yes, we killed her son. So scary stuff. Also, I love how it says all that matters is that you're safe. We hear that line while Atreus is literally being choked out by Freya's vines, and she has a sword by his neck. So nice touch.
I do not need you to protect me.
Sure about that?
That's a really amazing part right there. All of a sudden, with Atreus knowing who he is, with him now having that piece of finding out who he is and what that means for him, it seems like he's gained a lot of clarity. And now it's already shifted where he feels like he needs to protect his dad, opposed to Kratos protecting Atreus.
Pretender god! For the old father!
Death can have me when it earns me.
Oh, love that line. Okay, so this is really cool. This whole piece here, it gives us some nice gameplay. It scares the heck out of me that we might have to go up against 2 Valkyries, if that's even what these are. My big thing here is, where the heck are we? Are we in Asgard? It seems like we're on a rock floating in space. So I don't know where we're at in this. I think it's really neat, but it seems very isolated. They also shout for the Allfather, which, I mean, it's most likely that they're still cursed, or I don't know, maybe they actually are on Odin's side, but they're definitely fighting for him here. So this will be a tough fight for sure. I just happened to pause it as well on these Valkyries, but their masks are terrifying and they look a lot different. So they might actually be something different. There was mention in one of my streams that they might be harpies instead. I don't know what that means in mythology or anything like that, other than it's like half woman, half bird. So regardless, they look different, and that's probably intentional. Then we get some really cool gameplay footage. I don't have too much to say about this, other than it shows some of the realms that we've seen and some new ones. This area we're fighting here is cool. I don't know what we're in. We're in like a flying boat, maybe? I smile, but we've already been on a flying boat, so it's quite possible.
No, of God.
This guy here, they reminded me a lot of the Travelers, but bigger, badder, meaner, all the things. I don't know where these guys came from, but they look a little misplaced in this environment. So I don't think they are specific to this zone. I think it's going to be similar to the Travelers that we experienced in the previous game.
In your lifetimes, has anyone
Grappling hook is really
ever
cool.
worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about anything beyond yourself. Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
So that whole thing there, I believe that's Tyr yelling at Kratos. I'm not 100% sure if that's who we're hearing, but what he has to say there kind of hurts. He's talking about as a god, a lot of people worship gods, a lot of people pray to gods, and Kratos isn't somebody you go to for that kind of help. And it's most likely because of how he led his previous life, if you will. So it's just another time that Kratos keeps getting knocked down verbally about his past. It's like he can't escape it. And yeah, it's mean. Not necessarily undeserving, but it hurts. The game footage here is really cool. I don't know exactly what creatures they are. It looks like we're in Muspelheim here. I think I said that right. We've got the lava, we've got the fire, the heat. There might be another gauntlet that you can go through in this zone, and this is just another creature. Definitely seems like you need to aim at the runes. So all that practice on the chest will help you out in combat. It looks really cool. I enjoy the gameplay footage.
You don't care about anything beyond yourself.
This line I noticed on my first watch through, and the more I watch it, the more I love this and this transition. He gets told, you don't care about anything beyond yourself. Again, I feel like if this is Tyr, stop judging us by our past. You don't know what's happened during our last adventure. But what we're given right after this is a whole bunch of Kratos doing things for other people and not caring about himself. So I love this. I'm gonna let it play out.
Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
So we get Kratos saving this new character, which I believe her name is Angraboda. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, but after we get that whole speech about Kratos only caring about himself and the monster he is, we get him saving her. I don't know where Atreus is during that scene either, which has me a little concerned, but then we get him saving Atreus, and then we get him saving Atreus. So yeah, guess what? He doesn't just care about himself. Love it.
Fate only binds you if you let it.
All right. So the wolves, I don't know about you guys, but I totally freaked out during that scene. I was like, oh, Atreus is so awesome. So those are the wolves, Skull and Hati. We learned a lot about them through Mimir and on our journey with Atreus in the previous game. One chases the moon, one chases the sun. I don't know too much more about them, but in the wall carving that we saw previously, it looked like Odin had control over them. So Atreus has control over them. What does that mean? That's so cool. It's so awesome. And it just really shows how much Atreus has grown. From the previous game, I very much felt like Atreus had a special bond with animals. So seeing him have control over these wolves was excellent. It was very cool.
Do what is necessary. Not because it is written.
And then we get some clips of, it looks like different zones and some new areas that we're going to explore. Just some really beautiful stuff. This little clip here, I wish I could know more about. It looks like those are Odin's ravens, which were his eyes that he used to spy on us. Why are they all on this tree? Were they sent here for a reason? Are there a bunch of them? Because wherever we're heading, Odin heavily wants to have an eye on? Because that's a lot of birds. Why are they all looking at us? Why are they all here? So wherever we're heading here, it's a big deal, at least for Odin. And then you get this really cool moment between Kratos and Tyr where they grab hands, showing that they're gonna work together. And I just realized that Tyr is holding Kratos' blade for some reason, which, what? I don't know why. That's really cool. I like that. They're both God of War. From what I understand, those blades are very much Kratos' soul in a sense. So you guys have to tell me what you think about that, because that has got to have a bigger meaning. Unless he just used the blades to cut the rest of his bindings. I don't know. I can't imagine Kratos ever allowing anybody else to touch those. I guess the best person would be another God of War though. So, love it.
We will make our own destiny.
And then, of course, you've got the Leviathan axe going straight up against Mjolnir. Mjolnir? You guys have to forgive me for how I pronounce pretty much any Norse name. It's probably going to be wrong most of the time. But that final clash between the two weapons, so good. We know that Sindri and Brock made both of those weapons, and I think the axe was made afterwards, which might mean that it was also crafted with Mjolnir in mind. So if that's the case, the axe might actually be better, because I know Sindri and Brock were not happy with what Thor did with that hammer. So I don't know if the axe was created specifically to go up against it or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So love it, love the trailer. I'm so excited for this game. And yeah, that's it. That's my whole take on this trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on it, and I cannot wait to see what you guys have to add, or what you know, or just even to hear about your excitement as well. Anyways, guys, if you did like this, let me know. I know it's a lot different than a reaction video. If it's something the community enjoys, then we can make more of these. And if not, no big deal. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts, and I will catch you next time.